Hello you guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be doing my client's nails. She is such a great client of mine. Honestly, you guys, I freaking love her. But we are going to be doing some cute nails on her. I am going in with a fine sanding band. I went ahead and already did her cuticles, so you guys won't be seeing me doing the cuticle bit right here. But honestly, you guys, if you guys haven't already tried that cuticle bit, bomb. I highly recommend. If you want no lifting, absolutely no lifting, I recommend trying it. And if you have clients that have stubborn cuticles that you aren't able to get in those little nooks and crannies, I highly recommend that bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and link that down below if that's something that you're interested in. But this fine sanding band, you guys could get these spring-loaded bands where you are actually able to not have to cut the band off with cuticle nippers or anything like that. It is spring-loaded, so it makes it a lot easier. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get these tips. I am trying out Nail Lab tips. I am going to be doing a video on reviewing the Nail Lab because I just was recently there, and yeah, so stay tuned for that video. I'm going to show you guys what I got and what I thought about it. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these tip cutters, and I'm just going to trim everything up, making sure they are the length that I want. She didn't want to go too long just because she didn't end up wanting to break a nail, but I felt like the length that she did was a really good length for her, and the way we did the French tip, it elongated the nails even more, so it made them look even longer. They ended up coming out super pretty, so make sure to stay tuned for the very end because her nail pictures, they were so bomb, and she's always lets me play around putting rings on her and whatnot. So if there is something that you guys have been wanting to try with your clients, honestly, I feel like definitely try it because I feel like a lot of times, like doing the pictures, I feel like my clients actually get into it. I know a lot of times you might feel like kind of embarrassed to ask to do all these goofy little things, but honestly, the more you're obsessed with it, the more your clients are obsessed with it. And I feel like, I don't know, like a lot of times, like I feel like I notice a lot of people, they feed off each other's energy. So if you're excited to try these things, of course they are too, like to see the difference that the little rings make in the picture and doing all these little things. Like some people, I mean, they might be like, what the heck? But I mean, as long as you have bomb pictures, that's what matters, because you guys all know that usually Instagram is where you get your clients and word of mouth. So a lot of times, like even if your clients post on the internet their nails and things like that, I highly recommend. Something that I have learned is when you have your clients when you're trying to build your clients, tag them in your pictures. A lot of times they will end up reposting your pictures. So the pictures that you take, because a lot of times they can't get as good of a nail picture as you can. So definitely recommend trying that method out. Let me know if it works for you guys, because that is something that has been working for me. But now I'm going to go ahead and dehydrate, and I went ahead and blended the tips. I blended the tips using a coarse sanding band, making sure I wasn't touching her nail because I didn't want to end up over filing. So just blending that tip in, making sure you guys are wearing your gloves. So you guys see me pulling out some gloves. You guys, when doing nails, it is very important to wear gloves. Make sure you're in a ventilated space and making sure that you are wearing a mask, because I know not all the time I won't be wearing a mask, because sometimes I just like to wear my makeup and look all cute. But honestly, for your health, I recommend you guys doing that, whether you are a beginner nail tech or not, whether you're working on yourself or not, is something that is really important, because otherwise being overexposed to it, you can become allergic to the products. Alright you guys, so now I'm going to go ahead and go in with this protein bond after I went ahead and dehydrated. I do the dehydrator and the protein bond twice, and I went ahead and handed my client the swatches so she could go ahead and look and see which ones that she wanted to do. The one that she ended up picking out was a Valentino. You guys will see that this is actually one of the new ones that I got from the Nail Lab, so stay tuned because I got some other cool colors, so if you guys do want to see those. And I like to have a towel and then a paper towel down, just because if anything gets on my desk, the towel will absorb it, and I always end up washing the towels by the end of the week. But So now I'm just gonna go ahead and get my Montage monomer. And honestly, you guys, a Montage monomer worked pretty bomb with this acrylic. I was really impressed because I was kind of nervous getting this acrylic because I did notice that Valentino's acrylic for like a small thing of it, it was kind of expensive, where I think it was like $32 or something like that. But I know that I don't know this because I haven't actually looked it up, but I heard that it has a lot of ingredients that you're actually able to use that instead of using other brands, where if you are allergic, this will be really good for you. So I have yet to try it. This is my first time trying out their colored acrylic, and honestly, you guys, I really liked the way it paired up with Montage's monomer. If you guys are new to doing nails, you guys will know that not every monomer and every acrylic go hand in hand. Sometimes you might have to play around and know how your monomer is and know how your acrylic is. Sometimes with other acrylics, it will set faster, and then some monomers will set faster. So it just really depends. I feel like I've worked with acrylics where they dry way too fast, and depending on what monomers I end up using with them. And they work beautiful with other types of it. So it just really depends. I know a lot of times people say they don't like certain acrylics, but definitely try to use different monomers with them, and I feel like the product will be good. I feel like I haven't tried any brand where I wasn't a super big fan of, like unless I didn't experiment with different monomers, if that makes sense. So definitely try out some different monomers and make sure it is right. But the size brush that I am using today is a size 12. You guys know that after being at a size 16 after a little while, I tried so hard to be with the size 16 because I wanted to gain speed and be faster and be able to like apply a big bead of acrylic and basically pat that into place. But basically what had happened with that was that I felt like I was getting too messy by the cuticle, and I did feel like I would end up over time having to go back and making sure that my cuticle was nice and neat with my drill. And I just didn't like having to like go back and correct with the drill, just because I do not want to cut my client, and sometimes having to be that close, you might end up nicking your client, and that's something that I don't want to do. So I decided to go back down to a size 12 brush, and I know you could use this brush listed on their website. It says that it is for fills, but you could use it for a full set. It's not just for the fills. But I like to shake my powder down like how you had just seen, just because it does really help make sure that I get like a nice and clean bead. I don't know if it really does make that big of a difference, but to me in my head it does. So that is what I do, because I feel like sometimes when there's more lumps and bumps inside the acrylic, like it's not like super smooth at the top, it's harder to pick up a nice clean bead. So the acrylic that I am using, you guys probably all want to know the color. It is Cream or Creme, CREME, from Valentino, of course. So far, honestly, you guys, I really enjoyed using this acrylic. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have tried this acrylic from them. I know a lot of people, they rave about their products, but a lot of the girls that I follow, they're all brand ambassadors. So sometimes I'm like, are they telling me that it's good just because they're a brand ambassador, or is it really bomb? So honestly, you guys, so far it's bomb. So I'm glad I was able to try it out because I have been wanting to try it for so long, but I like to see the colors in person. So over at the Nail Lab, something that is great, I am going to spill a little bit to you guys, but I really think it's great that they have swatches in there for their products, because I really like to go to NAILIS in ROSMEAD, California, and I feel like I love their stuff, but honestly, if they had swatches of all their products, it would be such a game changer, because not everyone goes in there knowing what they want or knowing the name and the color, if that makes any sense. But So having swatches, I feel like, is essential if you are having a nail store and you have it where people could walk in and come and see your products. Because I do feel like a lot of people, they want to see what it is and have the names on it and whatnot. So if you are a nail store and you are watching this video, I highly recommend everybody is doing that, just so you're able to get a visual of what color looks like. Honestly, I feel like that alone would increase any nail business in sales, because you're able to do that. But yeah, you guys, just a little idea. If you guys are a nail business owner, I feel like that would be amazing. I would love to see that in all nail stores. I feel like that's something that should be essential. But it really helped me be able to pick the colors that I want, just because I feel like some colors, they look so similar. Like this one and another one that I got, when it is dry, it looks basically the same to me. So honestly, for me to visualize what the colors are, it's really hard. Unless you probably work with colored acrylic already, you guys probably maybe already know how colors work. But honestly, I've only been working with colored acrylic for a little bit of time, but I feel like it's probably been like a year since I've been kind of gravitating more towards colored acrylic. Before, honestly, you guys, I was really afraid of trying colored acrylic. I don't know why. I was really intimidated by it, and I felt like once you had that color, you were pretty much stuck with that color. And I know you guys might see my swatches in the background of this video and kind of question why I only do nudes, is because in all honesty, I feel like my hands are way too weak to file down the pigment of like what they last had. So like, let's say they have colored acrylic and they want to change their colored acrylic to like from this nude to a neon bright orange color. I technically would have to file that all the way down to get rid of the color. But with using just nudes underneath it, I do find that I'm able to do more with the nails that they already have. So let's say they come in, they just want to fill, and then they want to do a design on top of it. It is so much easier doing it that way than having to actually, like, I don't know, file down a completely different color. And if they want, like, let's say my client that's right here, she came in, she wanted a neon orange, like just all over all of her nails, and that was it. I feel like to file all of that down just to put a solid orange, to me that doesn't make sense. So I try to do it to where it doesn't kill my hands and it makes sense to me. So what made sense to me is just doing a gel polish over it. So I know it does get expensive to have to carry both lines, a colored acrylic line and gel polish line, but that is why I have a gel polish line and then I have my colored acrylic line. But the colored acrylic, mainly what I have is nudes. That's mainly what I carry, unless it's like stuff that I feel like they might want 3D or things like that. Usually I'll get that, or if it's things like as far as ombres. But as you guys all seen, is that now ombres, you could actually paint the tip before you apply the acrylic and then blend whatever color you need into that. So honestly, you don't even need a neon orange, like to do a neon orange ombre like of acrylic. You just need a gel polish technically. So honestly, you guys, I feel like try working with what you have. I feel like so your products could actually go a longer ways. Just because I know not all the time we end up using every single one of our products, there's probably more than half of your collection that you might feel like is full because either one, somebody has never got those colors before, or whatever the case may be. So definitely try that. But now what we are doing is we are flipping my client's hands the other way, and we're making sure the nails are nice and crisp. I feel like using a different tip this time, I do feel like it was a little bit of an adjustment. So you guys might see me having to flip her hands a whole bunch of different ways, but I feel like that's usually how it is when you are trying a new product, or I feel like at least with me. But I really want to make sure that I'm getting it nice and crisp, and we still wanted to keep that coffin look. The great thing about these tips is they're nice and slender, so it does really keep the nails looking nice and narrow. but I did have to adjust her wrist a little bit and pull her a little bit more forward just so I could see and make sure that the angles of her finger and the nail are going in the same direction and I don't have her nails going crooked. But these tips, I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, they are a C-curve coffin. So if you were to look at the tips of the nails, they do have that really pretty C-curve. The longer you leave the nails, the more you'll see that like more of a narrow C-curve, like the C-curve is very small at the tip. But since I cut them down, it is not as prominent as you will see like if you left them long. But the price point of these, they were $7, or not $7, I am so sorry. They weren't $7, they were $17 for them plus tax. So if you guys are looking for a different type of nail tip and you want to save a little bit of money, they are actually a good price. If you guys know anywhere that charges cheaper for them, make sure to comment down below and help anyone out in the comments, just because I know some people, they are trying to find more bang for their buck, especially with doing nails, but also good quality. So I really like these nail tips because I do feel like they hug the nail. I do feel like sometimes with certain tips, I do feel like they tend to flare out and you end up having to file and blend them a lot more than what you would want to, just because, and I feel like it just adds on more time to the process. So I do feel like with these, I did not really have to blend too much and get too crazy with it. So that is something that I did really enjoy about these tips. I did end up getting some extra long square tips from them, and honestly those ones I wasn't a real big fan of, just because I did feel like those ones you did have to file a lot in order to get rid of that like area where you blend the area where you blend the tip into the natural nail, just because if you don't do that, you'll end up finding that the tip actually ends up poking out of the acrylic, and you don't want that look. It does not look good. No one likes that. So definitely recommend these tips. These I really like. Where you guys now taking that 80/80 grit, and I'm filing the tops of the nail. Now I'm just gonna go in with my drill, and the drill that I am using is from Kiara Sky, and I'm gonna go in with the coarse sanding band, and I'm just gonna go ahead and blend the cuticle down into the rest of the nail. And if I do feel like I need to shape the sides just a tad bit more, I'm gonna go ahead and do so until I like my shape. This really helps. It's like a speed technique, so if you do feel like hand filing, and honestly, if you feel like hand filing is taking you too long, I feel like try to reach out for your drill more and more. I feel like in my experience, I do feel like hand filing with the hand file first and getting the body of the nail to the shape that you want, it really allows me to be a lot faster than if I were just to go in with my drill and only my drill. I feel like my drill, it takes me a little bit more time, but I do feel like the more experience that you get with your drill, the faster you will be. But I really like to use the drill around the cuticle, just because I do feel like it really helps my job in making sure that I am not cutting my client, because sometimes when you are using straight files like the ones that I am using and it's not curved at the edge and you're filing by the cuticles, then I feel like you will be more likely to cut your client. Even with the curved ones, you can cut your client. So I mean, it sometimes with hand filing it is inevitable, but this makes it so much less likely where you're going to be able to cut your clients. I do feel like if you are using a metal bit, I feel like your chances are a little bit higher cutting your clients, just because especially if it has a 90-degree angle on that drill bit, then you end up finding yourself like having that problem. But with a sanding band like this, unless you're putting too much pressure, I feel like you should be fine. Or their cuticles are very thin. But this helps me just get in there and get my job done, blending it to the rest of the nail without having to like have a big bulky file right there. And after I'm done filing, I do ask my clients like, how is everything? Do you want anything different? Is there anything bothering you? that is something that I do feel like you should get in the habit of asking your client, just because the way they see their nails and the way you see their nails is completely different. And I know sometimes it might bother you if your clients are super nitpicky, but them being nitpicky is something that's going to make you better. So I know sometimes it might be frustrating at the beginning of your nail career trying to figure out like if you're doing a good job or not, but I mean, your clients will tell you if you allow them. Sometimes I feel like people, they end up getting shy and they don't want to end up telling you because they're in fear of hurting your feelings, but in all honesty, their criticism will make you a better nail tech. But now I'm going to go ahead and go in with my 180 grit buffer. This thing is amazing. It takes out all of those scratches off of the nail. I love this because I feel like sometimes even after you put a top coat on, I do feel like you are able to see the scratches. So this really helps eliminate all of that. And I really want to do a design on top of this. So basically what we were planning out is to do a black French tip with one white because she wanted to match her dress because she was going to a wedding this weekend. So we ended up making sure that they are nice and smooth. Something that I do notice with beginner nail techs is that they don't buff completely all the way and they end up leaving it really rough, and what ends up happening is once they do their design, their smile line, it looks like as if the gel is settling into the cracks. And you really want to make sure that that's not happening to you. You want it to be seamless. You want it to be flawless. You want your clients to be obsessed with their nails. They are going to be wearing them for 2+ weeks. So definitely recommend. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these little snake decals, and I'm going to be putting them on her nail. We were kind of debating how we were going to do it. But now I'm going to go ahead and dust all that dust off. I like to dust the outside of the hands and the inside of the hands. And then I really like to go in with my little scrub brush, that white one that you see off to the side. And I like to go in and scrub the cuticles. I'm not sure if I got it on camera, but that is something that I really enjoy doing because it really helps. Now I was trying to do the little stamp thing, but I felt like it ended up being too low. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand paint everything. I end up getting this brush from NAILIS. This is that nail supply store that is in ROSMEAD. I did end up tagging their store. So if you guys do want to see if they have an online store, make sure to check them out. They are on one of my Instagram posts, and you'll be able to find their Instagram page and all that jazz on there. So definitely make sure you're following me on Instagram because I do some of my hauls of the things that I got on there. So you guys will be able to see some stuff on there. And it's just like some fun other videos that you guys might want to see. But yeah. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I paint these lines nice and crisp. I like to kind of play around with it to kind of get an idea. And usually I'll ask my clients like, okay, how is the French tip? Like, do you want higher? Is it too high or whatnot? I'll ask them on the first nail so they are able to kind of see if they want it higher or lower or whatnot, or if there's something bothering them. So this is kind of basically the rough draft for the rest of the nails. And even before I cure them, I ask them, just because it's easier to touch them up before you put them in the light than instead of after. So I'm going to go ahead and do this on the rest of the nails. For this nail, I did decide that I was going to put that line and then swoop in the front. I have seen this technique on Nailed by Christy's page. So if you guys haven't seen her page, check her out. She is a bomb press-on nail artist. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to check her out. She is amazing. I love her work, and I feel like this method, it did really help. So definitely recommend this method as well if you guys haven't already tried this. It really allows you to kind of visualize how high you want to go up on the nail and then just kind of bring that all into the center. So definitely try this out. It is a must. And the black gel I am using is from Colorland Gels, of course. If you guys have been here on my YouTube channel for some time, you know I am obsessed with their gels, and I really do enjoy using her product. I feel like the product is really good, but with the black, you really want to make sure with all blacks that you are making it nice and thin enough to where your clients are able to have it fully cured, if that makes sense. If you are experiencing that your gels aren't fully curing, a lot of times it might be the light, it might be the angle that their hands are inside of the light, or if the light is not strong enough. So I have the Chiaroscuro lamp, and something that I did notice, because the lights don't go super far up on the edges, sometimes I might have a problem with my thumb. And with that being said, I do feel like I have to make sure to tell my clients to put that thumb in front of the light in there, because if not, it is not going to be curing correctly, and if it's not cures correctly, it ends up pilling. So that's something to inform your clients about, because if you don't, chances are they're going to end up coming out with a shriveled up nail on the side, and you're going to have to go and retouch it. So definitely make sure to do it right before you do it wrong. But now I'm going to go ahead and clean up that French tip. You guys could see the French tip is coming along so well. I like to look at them all together and kind of make minor adjustments to them if needed. And then I wanted to go in with the black one first. And this Kolinsky haired brush, it is a cleanup brush. I did end up also getting this from NAILIS nail store. I really like this brush. I had another one before, but that one needed to go. It was too long that I had went with that brush, and honestly, like, I'm so happy that I got another one, because this one is so precise and just really, really nice cleanup on it. So I'm happy that I got another one. I don't know why I waited as long as I did, because how precise this brush is compared to the other one. Because if you're a nail tech, you guys all know that after a while of having some nail brushes, they end up flaring out on the edges. And I feel like that was the case with that nail brush. But you guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch me through this process. And if there is anything that I need to add, I'm going to go ahead and add it in the video. So yeah, I hope you guys are really enjoying this content, because I love doing this Halloween content for you guys. Halloween is my favorite month, so you guys should be seeing a lot more on my channel than usual. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply this in the light for 60 seconds. Now I'm going to go ahead and get that beautiful decal. These are from NAILIS, if I haven't mentioned that already. They have a ton of stickers, so if you guys are ever in LA area, highly recommend checking their store out. If you guys are looking for a ton of different cute decals, these are so bomb. I love these. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. I want to cut it a little bit before the nail stops, because if you end up cutting it right on the edge and you allow it to be a little bit out, chances are your client is gonna rub the tips of their nails, and eventually it's going to lift that decal on its own, and that whole decal will eventually end up coming off or wearing off at the end. So when you do this, you're going to want to base coat it and then top coat over it if you're using the Tracy's nails. The reason why I say base coat first is because sometimes with super glossy top coats, what I have noticed in the past is if they're super glossy, they end up separating if you try to top coat twice. So that is why I pulled out my base coat and I had her put it in right after. The reason why I didn't top coat the rest is because sometimes I notice what will happen if I try to top coat a decal and I end up doing the rest of the decals. I do feel like the gel, it somehow seeps under and allows the decal to end up lifting where it doesn't lay right. So, and you might end up having like edges where it like ends up coming up and it's more likely to lift. So what you're going to want to do is put it in the light right away. So right after you press it into the nail, make sure you base coat, pop it into the light right after. You don't want to wait any longer, because if you wait, sometimes the adhesive for it doesn't end up sticking because of the gel. It ends up lifting it up and there's no tack to it where it could cling onto the nail. And something that I do want to mention, if you are using a gel that had, like, let's say this gel, this white gel, it had a dispersion layer, you are going to want to completely wipe that dispersion layer before you put this decal on. Reason being because stickers do not stick to the dispersion layer. But now after this one is out of the light, I am just going to go ahead and go in and top coat all the rest of the nails, making sure that they look nice and pretty. And if I do need to wipe the sides with this top coat, honestly, it is not super thick, so you might see me do it on some nails and not on others. So but that is kind of like what I did with my brush, just because the edge of my glove, it did rip, so I wanted to make sure I ended up wiping the one that had the little decal on it. Alright, you guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for the very end because you guys are going to get reveal pictures and how I styled her nails with my little rings and whatnot, and how I angled her hands for the pictures. So if you guys need ideas for pictures, here are some ideas. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, I'll be back with more videos. Bye!